Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of PE for remote learning. This week we're going to learn a few more skills for the bouncing and play a few different kind of games. So get excited and get ready to start. Alright everyone, so for PE today what we're going to do is, ideally before you watch the video, you click on the 2 YouTube links below and you choose one of those links and you do that dance activity, okay? It's going to warm you up and get you ready for PE. If not, you can do that at the end of this video, that's okay as well. They're really fun activities that you can follow along with. There's one where you will watch the screen and you'll do the dance steps, and there's one where you'll actually just follow the dance, and it goes for about 20 minutes. So choose whichever one you'd like. One's 5 minutes and one goes for 20 minutes. So if you're feeling really energetic, go for the longer one. If you just want a nice short one, go for the 5-minute one. It's a bunch of fun and I'm sure you'll enjoy that. All right, but today I was thinking, how can I bring PE from school to home to you guys? What's like the thing you like to do? What's that game you love to play at school? And everyone always loves to play toilet tag. Whenever we're in PE, toilet tag, Mr. Reed, can we play toilet tag? So I was thinking, how can we play a toilet tag, but at your house? Now, we can do this, but it's going to require one thing. And that one thing is a bit of imagination and one other person to play with. So hopefully you have one person you can play this game with. If not, we'll come up with heaps of ideas later, so you can just skip this bit. But to play this toilet tag game, what you need to do is, you need one other person, and it's just tag, okay? So you've got to try and tag it. One person starts it, and you can figure that out by doing rock, paper, scissors. The loser's the tagger. Now what you need to do, if you're the tagger, you need to run around the house or run out in the backyard, and you need to tag whoever you're playing with. Now, if you tag them, remember how we play toilet tag? You turn into a toilet. So you got to squat down and then you got to put your hand up. Because remember, the only way to get out of being a toilet is if someone flushes the toilet. So remember, if you get tagged, you squat down like you're a toilet and you put your hand up and someone needs to flush it. So you have to run around, you have to tag someone. If you tag them, they turn into a toilet. Now they have to stay in this position for 10 seconds. So they need to count to 10. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. Once they get to 10, they can flush their own toilet, and now they're the tagger, and they're running around trying to tag the other person, to try and tag you. Now, if they tag you, you now go to the toilet, count to 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 10, and then you're running around trying to tag them back, and the game keeps going on until someone's been in a toilet 5 times. Once you've been in a toilet 5 times, I think that's it. I think you're now a toilet, so what can you do? You can't really play again. But have some fun with that. Remember, you guys love playing that game at school. I'm sure if you play with people at your house, they're going to love it as well. So have some fun, run around, and get warmed up. The second part of the lesson today, guys, is we're going back to our last week's lesson where we did our ball bouncing, and we're progressing from that. Because just one lesson is probably not enough for us to master a skill, okay? To master skills, it takes practice, it takes repetition, and it takes a lot of effort. Some of these levels and skills that we're going to learn, they might be a bit challenging, but that's okay. We're going to keep at it. We're going to keep going until we can master all those different levels that we're about to do. Now remember, if you were doing ball bounce, you need one thing, and that is something that bounces. Ideally, a basketball, a netball, even a soccer ball, they bounce quite well. I have a basketball here. This ball bounces, but I brought a tennis ball. Because the tennis ball, it bounces pretty good. You could use a bouncy ball or something like that. I'm going to demonstrate a few of my levels with a basketball, but I'm also going to do a demonstration with the tennis ball, just so you can see that both things work, okay? So it doesn't matter if you don't have a basketball, we can still practice our ball bounce. Now, one thing before we start, what do you bounce the ball with? What part of your hand do you bounce the ball with? Can you remember from last week? A bit louder. Exactly right. Your finger pads. So the top of your fingers, the long part of your fingers, finger pads. We don't slap the ball. We want to try and get out of the habit of just slapping the ball. We really want to use those fingers. Where do we want to look when we're bouncing the ball? Do we want to stare at the ball? Or do we want to try and look up so we can see around us? Exactly right. We want to look up. Spot on. So we're going to start with a very easy skill. I'm going to do it with both of these, both objects. We're going to bounce the ball 10 times on both hands. So I'm going to use my right hand to start with. I'm going to go 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looking up all the way to 10. If you need to look down quickly and look back up, that's okay. That's going to happen. So I do 10 on my right side and then 10 on my left side. So with a small object, it is going to be a little bit harder. So I'm going to give you a couple options. You can try and bounce it with your fingers. What might need to look a little bit more down when you're doing that. Or you can bounce, catch, bounce, catch, bounce, catch, and then try and look up when you do it. Well, looking up is challenging. All right, so there's 2 ways you can do it. You can use the basketball or the tennis ball. Now, the next one is a crossover. So a crossover is when we bounce with one hand, we bounce, and then we bounce with the other hand. So we alternate our hands. Crossover. The ball is crossing over to the other side. So cross over. We're going to do 20 of these. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 20. Now, when you're doing this, try and get nice and low in a nice good position, strong position, legs are ready to move, and then just bouncing it. Try to look up, only looking down when you need to, and then come back up, okay? Basketball, we're going to do that with tennis ball as well. So you're just crossing it over. It's a bit more, it's harder, but you can also do the catch. Bounce, catch, bounce, catch. Okay? So you can use either ball. The next one, the sit. So this one, you're going to sit down. Legs straight, you're going to see if you can bounce and have that control. Try 10 on this side, 10 on the other side. The challenge now is we're trying to bounce it and see if we can bounce it underneath our legs, but trying to keep balance. Oh, I lost my balance there. We'll try again. Legs go up. Oh, that's a challenge. So have a go at that one. 10 on each side, and then try and balance it and bounce it through your legs. All right, the next one. Now we're going to try something a little different as well. We're going to try low bouncing and high bouncing. So we're going to focus having that control with the basketball. But remember, when we're going low and we're going high, doesn't mean we start slapping the ball with our palm. We still just use our finger pads. So trying to look up, pushing the ball down with our finger pads, coming down nice and low to bounce the ball really little. Can you do 10 in a row? Try and get bigger and bigger. Nice big bounces, but try not to slap the ball. And then try with your other hand as well. Do the exact same thing with the tennis ball. You can come nice and low, try and bounce it, look up. And you can try and go really high with a tennis ball. Lots of different things you can practice. You can use a basketball or a tennis ball. Now, I remember in PE we did this. We did one lesson of ball bouncing, and I loved it. I love seeing when people try to do the under the legs, the little tricks, the little challenges. So then we're going to try and do it under the legs. So bouncing the ball, you need to go really wide stance and just practice bounce. You might need to catch it. Practice bounce catching. You can even go straight into the first bounce goes under the leg. So bounce, catch, bounce, catch. So that's getting a bit more challenging. Now, if you think that's okay, you can bounce it, try and go under the legs, and try and keep bouncing the ball. So bouncing, big wide legs, and try to continue bouncing the ball. It's getting pretty hard, guys. Now remember, if you're finding one of these levels really difficult, I want you to pause. I want you to stay at that level until you're comfortable, okay? And hey, if you spend the whole time today just doing level 1s, 2 or 3, maybe just bouncing the ball, looking up, using both hands, that's awesome. We don't have to go all the way to the end, all right? These other ones are just more challenging. So once you do have a good understanding and the good fundamental skills to bounce the ball like this, you should progress a little bit further. All right, the last skill challenge that we're going to do is a dribble spin move, all right? To make it a little bit more exciting as well. Can we dribble the ball here, and then can we spin around and try and bounce the ball again before it hits the ground? Whoa. Got to be quick and got to have your hands ready to bounce it, okay? So we just went through a bunch of different bounce exercises and skills, but let's start at the first one and then just progress to the next one when we can, okay? I'm going to make a list of the skills at the end of this video, so you can pause the video at the end, you can look at all the lists, and you can see which one you want to try, And if you have to go back through the video to see how I did it, you can do that as well. The main thing I want you to remember though, guys, is our finger pads. So no slapping the ball, just pushing it down with our finger pads and trying not to look at the ball too much, okay? That's what I really want you to focus on, and that's probably one of the most important things. Once you've done that, I think it's awesome to try and make a dribble course around the house, around the backyard. So make a little course that you need to go around. Try a different move. So try dribbling with your most dominant hand, which might be your right, might be your left, but also try swapping it over. Try doing the crisscross. Try doing a spin move. Try going under your legs. Make it as exciting as you can. But the most important thing, guys, is that we're active and we're having a bunch of fun, okay? It's really important that when we're active at home, we are trying to have the best time we can. So a little bit of a recap. I want you to watch one of those dance videos and follow along, because it's a great way to be active, great way to get moving and have a bunch of fun, have a really good time by yourself or with someone in your family. Then what I want you to do is I want you to practice all the skills that we've just gone through with the basketball or the tennis ball or whatever ball you have that bounces. And the lucky last thing, I want you to make a dribble course. Make a course in your backyard, in your front yard, around the house. If you have an inside ball, you can bounce and see what kind of course you can make. Get creative. Try and have the best time you possibly can. PE is meant to be fun, and I want you guys to have an awesome time. So, other than that, this lesson's done, guys, and I will see you next week for PE. Have an awesome week, stay active, and stay healthy. See you guys.